So now let's get down to the smallest level. How much will it warm where you live? Now, what I've plotted here is the most likely warming. That's this dot. And then the black line is the uncertainty. That's the error bar here. And the red dot corresponds to business as usual. And the yellow dot corresponds to mitigation. Next. So, if we look, suppose we live in Venice. Venice isn't too far from here compared to some of these other locations. Venice is going to warm moderately. Something like 3.7 in the most likely scenario. On the other hand, if we were to just drive up the 405 to San Fernando, we can see that the warming is going to be already half a degree warmer. So we can see a lot of variations in a small space. If we go even farther inland, over to Palmdale and Lancaster, those areas are going to receive a warming of about 5 degrees, which is considerably warmer. And as many of you guys know, Palmdale and Lancaster are already very, very warm. So what's happening is the hottest areas are getting hotter. Also of note is that Big Bear is going to warm more than 5 degrees. So the coastal areas are generally going to be protected, but the inland and mountain areas are going to warm a lot. Part of that has to do with the reduction of snow. With more warming, the snow reduces, and as the snow goes back, those areas will warm even more because the land is exposed and the surface can absorb more heat. Can we actually go back a couple slides? I think we might have missed one. There we go. So when and where is the warming going to be the strongest? So it turns out that the hot seasons are going to get hotter. Fall and summer are going to warm up the most. What I plotted here is the most likely warming for each of the seasons. This is fall, winter, spring, and summer. And you can still see the outline of LA County here. And fall looks like it's going to warm by somewhere between 5 and 5.5 degrees. If you guys remember, in September of 2010, Los Angeles set a record with 113 degrees as the maximum high. And you can imagine that at mid-century, with the warming of 5 or 5.5 degrees, we'll be setting a lot more records between now and then. And there's not much to say about summer. Everybody knows that summer in LA is hot, and this says it's going to get hotter. So in addition to what we see with the seasons, we also see that different areas are going to get hit differently. This is especially clear in the summer, where the inland areas are going to warm more than over the ocean. And the basic mechanism for this is that the ocean can absorb more heat, and so the ocean is going to warm less than the land areas. And so those coastal communities that receive the sea breeze on a regular basis are going to have warming that's more near ocean levels, whereas inland areas, they don't have very much moisture. They don't have a lot of evaporative cooling, and so they're going to warm a lot more. And it's like I said, the hot areas are going to get hotter. The hot months are going to get hotter. Okay, now we can go back to the summary. Okay, so in summary, for the business as usual scenario, we expect to see an average warming of about 4.6 degrees over the LA land areas. And we're 95% confident that that's going to be between, that number will end up being between 1.7 and 7.5. Again, this is according to business as usual. The high elevation in the inland areas will warm more, something on the order of 20% to 50%. Also, we see that under the mitigation scenario, the most likely warming will be reduced. Also, the likelihood of very extreme warming will be reduced. And if we were to go back to one of those initial plots, we saw that this effect is in fact amplified as time goes on. Because under business as usual, the warming will continue to increase, but in the mitigation scenario, the warming will sort of level off. If you want to know further about this project, feel free to visit the website c-change.la. That's where our warming report is, and we'll produce further reports about other variables like precipitation and other important things. There's also other interesting links on the site besides our report. There's stuff about adaptation and so on. The other thing you can do if you have any questions about this stuff, feel free to email me at waltond@ucla.edu. Thank you very much.
We're going to have questions.